Hi, ma'am. How are you doing
Hello.
today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking. May I know about you? How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
Wonderful. And if I am not wrong, your name is Kumar Ravish. Is that correct?
That's right.
And I'm Tasneem and I'm from Bangalore. May I know about yourself?
My name is Kumar Ravish, and I live in Noida. I have
Hmm.
been working, I'm a working professional actually,
All
working for the
right.
last 12 years into US IT staffing. And then
All right.
I am on Clapingo to brush up my conversational skills.
All
So,
right.
yeah, that's about me.
All right. And you are on Clapingo from how long, if I may ask?
I think 2 to 3 months, I
Oh,
suppose.
that's lovely. And that has that helped you?
Yes.
All right. What is your motive behind joining Clapingo? What is your sole need for the language? Is it professional development or?
Oh, yes. Professional development itself. And side by side, I have a YouTube channel as well.
Oh, okay.
So I upload all the conversational videos. I talk to the people and then I get them uploaded and let people learn from those conversational videos.
Oh, wonderful. So you record these audios and you put it up on YouTube.
Yes,
Lovely, wonderful. But Mr. Ravish, if I'm not, so I hope I can address you as I'm not quite sure which is your surname. Is it Kumar or Ravish?
you can call me Kumar. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, so Mr. Kumar,
Yes.
I see that you already are very good when you are talking. What is the need to join on Clapingo?
There is a scope of improvement, and there's always scope of improvement, right? And I get an
Yes, there is.
opportunity to speak to a number of people, professionals, and I don't find such platforms available. And that too, there are a couple others as well, but they're very expensive. So I
Oh,
thought, yeah, I thought to, let's get into it. Let's join Clappingo and see how
uh-huh.
people, how it goes. Actually, I found them really interesting, and I found people
You
they're
have.
very
All
good at
right.
they're very good at communication. They've got grammatical knowledge, and they're good in literature and all of that. I thought to connect with them and let's see how that goes.
Okay, wonderful. So you're over here with a sole purpose of working, making your English proficient, is what I can see.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely,
how did you
yes.
pick up the accent?
Actually, I have been working with US people.
I understand
So
that.
yeah, it's been around I think 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, I'm into the conversation with them on daily basis. So
Okay.
probably, yeah, from there
So
it
you
got impacted a little
speak
bit.
to US clients on a daily basis.
Yes.
Okay, so okay, that's a wonderful task that you indulge in on a daily basis. That's a good job. Do you like speaking or do you feel annoyed about it?
Not at all. I find them really, really great when it comes to English or communication. Why? Because that's not our language, right? When English is not our language, and even if we
Definitely.
will try our level best or explore whatever ways we can, probably we won't be able to, be at the level where English people are, all because that's their language, and you get to learn so many things. You know
Mm,
the nuances, you know how they make sentences, what sort of vocabulary that they use, and a simple
correct.
and crisp sentences are enough to make you understand about
Definitely.
what they wanted to say. So that's really interesting and enjoying, and you
Hmm.
get a lot of things to learn, which probably I did not find most of the times when I talk to our non-native speakers or probably Indians. I'm not bragging about Americans, but that's how it is. So if
No,
that
I
is,
totally agree with you.
you must appraise and praise. Yeah, that's not.
No, I totally agree with you when you say that. And I actually keep telling whenever, I meet the other clients on Clappingo, I keep telling them because we need to, English is not our language, definitely. And you know that.
Yeah.
And we need to acquire, we are acquiring it from somebody else's language. So we need to expose ourselves to be able to communicate the way they are doing it. So the only
Absolutely.
way out over here is to follow them. We are helpless. Just
Right.
like the way we are quite proficient in our language and our regional languages, they are
Exactly.
proficient in their regional language.
Exactly.
That's all. So the sooner we accept the fact, it's better for us. So there's no point, there's no point ignoring the fact that it is, our language. I see most of the people not accepting that fact. but truth is truth. You cannot change that fact. At the end of the day, it is their language. And like you rightly said, yes, I appreciate that. And I always suggest my clients to actually watch animated movies to be able to speak and communicate in idiomatic expressions. When you said crisp words, those crisp words are nothing but idiomatic expressions, which we fail at.
Right.
We do speak. We Indians can speak English really well. We come on, we
Yes.
can challenge
Yes.
anybody,
Undoubtedly.
but the thing that where we lack is when it comes to idiomatic expression. If we can excel that, we can challenge even Americans as well, no doubt.
Exactly.
We
Exactly.
have really good, interesting vocabulary, word in our heads, but what we are not good at is using idioms. And that is where they excel, because that's the difference between the language, the native language, how they can express in their idioms and how we are unable to express in idioms. And that's the kind of detachment we have with the language. The once
Correct.
that is brought in, I think we are as good as they are. So that I agree.
Right. And if Americans or probably any non-native speakers wanted to understand our language, or Hindi, of course, they have to come to us, and probably won't be able to speak as better as we can,
They
right?
won't, yeah.
Yeah. So ultimately, they have to come to us in order to understand the nuances of Hindi or Hindi as
Correct.
well. So
Correct.
there's nothing too ashamed about it, and we should accept this.
Definitely not.
Yes.
Yes, and not everybody accepts it. Only the ones who really, have I mean, like understand the fact, they actually pick up the language quickly. I kind of believe in that notion. In fact, when you said that, people who are outsiders who come to us. In fact, I work in this international school and I meet people from German. And there is this colleague of mine. She is from German and she speaks only Deutsch. That is German only. And she
Okay.
barely knows English. I mean, she does speak English a little bit,
Okay.
but however, her Hindi is far better than her English. And I'm kind of surprised. And I'm like, how can you? Well, it is accented for sure because she has that accent and the L1 influence. So she speaks that Hindi in an accented way, but then she speaks beautiful Hindi. And then I asked her, how did you? She speaks Hindi, she speaks Tamil, she speaks
Hmm.
Malayalam, and she is a German. And I'm
Wow.
like, how on earth did you pick up? And she speaks terrible English. Her
Okay.
English is terrible. And I'm like, how is this miracle happening? And she says she is
Absolutely.
married to her husband who is from Tamil Nadu. And she is with him from past 25 years. And she has become a complete Indian. And obviously, she's a German teacher because she's from Germany and she teaches German. But she never got the opportunity to learn English. However, she got the opportunity to learn all the Indian languages from past 25 years. And that is why she speaks better Hindi, all the other Tamil languages. It's kind of quite amusing to be able to, listen to her when she speaks, but her English is quite broken. So yeah, that's kind of a little ironic, is what I find, when somebody from German. For us, all of these people are supposed to be good in English, but for
Right.
us, so that's quite interesting. So do you come
Absolutely.
across these kind of people from other countries
I have
besides America?
a, a lot of people, probably
Hmm.
from people from, say, uh, China, or people from a different part of the world, say the Asian countries, right? The Bangladeshi, or probably Nepali, or from
Hmm.
South Africa at some point in time. They're not able to speak, and they've got different accent altogether. And
Hmm.
especially if I talk about, I would like to point it out about Chinese. They are
Hmm.
like not at all understandable. You'll have to put a lot of effort in order to understand them. They're not so good when it comes to conversation. English, yeah, you can easily gaze that they have tough time pronouncing some of the words,
I
which,
know.
yeah, comparatively, yeah. I mean, Indians are way too ahead when it comes to mother tongue influence, and they speak so well. I have found people from India.
Hmm.
I'm sure that you must be knowing that a lot of Indians are there in US. So most of them, when I see, talking to them, because it's quite visible by their names that they're Indians, right?
Hmm.
So when I see them talking over the phone, I mean, it's most of the times it's hard for me to identify that they're Americans or probably Indians. It's just their names that makes it visible,
The
else you'll
because of the accent, you mean?
because of the accent, because of the kind of they speak, the kind of
Hmm.
phrases and idioms that they use. I mean, that's spotless. Well, I mean,
They're born and brought up there, right?
even if they stay there for say 10 years, 12 years, 15
They
years,
pick up the
they
language.
yeah they pick up the language so well that it's hard to find the difference.
Yeah, that's quite amazing. I mean, like, yeah. So I think if we also need to speak just like native speakers, all we have to do is just move there, stay there for a couple of years, and come over back to India and flaunt our English to the whole
I'll tell
India.
you, it's not with everybody. I would say even the people you'll find there staying for 10 years, 15 years, and they if they're not interested talking like Americans or they're not interested in picking up their language, they'll speak like Indian, and
Yes,
you'll easily be able to figure out that they are Indians. You can easily identify them. So
yes,
it's not that staying there for 10 years, 15, 20 years will make you as fluent as Americans, but it's the zeal, it's the enthusiasm, it's the
correct,
interest that you have. And
correct,
even if you
correct.
stay there for couple of years, you won't wonder that you will be able to speak like Americans. So it's all about how you take this language, how interested you are to understand the importance of it, and you are interested to speak like them. So it's how it is.
I totally agree with what you just said because I was just speaking to somebody over here, I think a little while ago on Clapingo, and that person happened to be from US.
Okay.
Well, that person had stayed in US for a couple of years, and she was talking to me and she was telling me that she was in US, and I was a little surprised because her English was not just broken, but then yeah, there was no accent. And I was actually thinking about like she was in US, she should have picked up the language by now. And I was wondering why not. And what you said just now makes complete sense. It's the zeal, it's the interest in the language. If you don't want to pick up, no matter what you do, the person is never going to, regardless of the time they spend over there, they're never going to.
Correct.
And people who really want to improve, they stay. I mean, it doesn't matter where they actually stay. If they want
Right.
to pick up, they will pick up.
Yeah, from
So
here it's a different part of the world itself. It's just that you have to speak to native speakers as much as possible and
right.
understand the importance of it. Work on some of the important areas where you
Yes.
can probably brush up and be as good as them.
And apply those words in our English. That's the only way I will say. When I
Right.
was in training, like 20 years ago, when I was in training, when I was working on my language skills, my trainer always used to say one statement, which I kind of have held on to it like a mantra. She used to say that the only way to improve your spoken English is by speaking. Forget about the amount of reading that you do, forget about the amount of listening that you do, forget about the amount of writing you do. But unless you speak the language out loud, you will not be able to excel in that department. So I keep telling my, the clients, whoever come to me, I mean, when I meet, I keep telling them the only way you can work on your language. So that especially, you pick up a word, you need to apply that. You need to be able to use that in your language so that it comes to you naturally later on. And
Right.
most of the people don't do that. Unless we make a conscious choice of doing that, there's no point. We can only say, we can only go around and tell people, do this, do this, do this. Unless it comes from their own will, I don't think so.
Ma'am,
Just,
actually, I believe down the line, that pragmatically it's not possible, to pick up the language so quick because even if I see people putting a lot of efforts,
uh-huh.
in order to speak, in order to make the sentence structure correct, and so many other advices, which they get from a lot of tutors or teachers or
Okay.
professionals and all of that. But I see them not able to communicate or work on their communication. It's not that easy again. You
Why?
end up making a lot of mistakes. Even if you go, I mean, I'm saying about those who are, say, probably in their 5 years of experience working on this language, right? It takes a lot of time. When I see, it takes me by surprise is that people assure that you will probably be fluent in less than a year or less than 6 months. That's probably not possible. Even it's been so many years I've been working on this language, and I still need perfection. And perfection is something which is not probably the state that anybody can achieve, but it's again something which probably even if you strive harder, it's not possible to be at that level. It's not possible to be fluent in 6 months or 1 year. It takes time, and when you
Definitely.
yeah, and people have hard time believing in this. You know,
Oh,
Yeah, that
Yes.
it takes time. It is something which is not your language. There are so many things which you need to master on. And yeah, this is what I wanted to bring it to you know.
No,
Yeah,
I completely agree with this point as well. When I was a trainer initially, like, 15 years ago, people would come to me and they're like, I want to learn English in 1 month. And I would be like, no, that's impossible. They'll leave. The very next moment, they would be like, fine, if you cannot teach me English. They
yeah,
actually think that I can do wonders and I can teach them. I can make that happen as if it's in my hands. So it's really difficult to convince them. That particular point which you just stated out loud over here, stating that it'll take time for somebody to be proficient enough in a language, it takes years and years of experience and exposure to the language. It's really difficult to make them understand. They ask me how long. The first question, especially when I take demo sessions,
correct,
the first question they ask is how long. And I trust me, though I tell them, like, do this on a consistent basis for about like 3 to 4 years, you will see a change in your language. I never say you will be able to excel, but what I say is you will be able to see a change in your language in 3 months' time, but then you will have to do it consistently. They just want to, do wonders in very limited amount of time, and convincing them that it is not possible is a huge challenge, trust me. I used to
right,
earlier say it on their faces, it's an impossible task, and that turned out really negative. Then I learned my lesson and I was like, no, I'm not supposed to be saying that. So I now do not say that at all, but what I say is do these kind of things, apply these strategies in your language learning process. It'll expedite the process of your learning. Maybe, like, you can see the change in no time. I kind of choose my words very shrewdly is what I would say, but never use a
right,
negative word. That kind of happens.
yeah.
So Mr. Kumar, tell me about your, I think the call is going to end in 2 minutes. I did not get to know you at all. I mean, like, about your family, about your, we are just talking about English, English, English so much.
Okay, perfect.
So
Maybe
tell me
we'll
about your
connect.
family.
Yeah,
Sure, yes.
we'll connect some other time then.
Yes,
And
definitely we will.